Is it safe? Is it safe? Is it all clear? Can I come out now? Can I come out? Can I come out? Is it safe? Surrender. I'm an Italian practicing for war. I surrender. Guys, this has been a tough battle. This has been a real tough battle. Things have gotten really tough, but we prevailed. We managed to get through the war on Christmas, but it's Easter. We managed to get through the war on Easter. Fox couldn't put us under. So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but mamma mia, they just don't stop. The war on Easter and then the new Pope, and it's just, and they couldn't, and it just keeps going. Now, you know, obviously we were having a little fun there, but, you know, getting back to what Fox, you know, Fox and their war on Easter, their war on Christmas, there was a school in Alabama, small school, and they decided to change the Easter egg hunt's name to the spring roll, or the spring hunt. Well, I want to tell you, if that wasn't enough to push the fundamentalists over the edge. So we got this war on Easter, and Fox just wants to keep feeding, you know, feeding the fodder to the fundamentalists, and it's just getting crazy. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but what are they going to start attacking next? You think they want to pick on guns, the Second Amendment right? Well, you know, we always like to start the show with some comedy, and we're going to do that. And while we're watching the comedy, like we do normally, I want you to pick up your cell phones and call your best friend or your worst enemy or somebody you don't know and tell them that, hey, Uncle Rich is on. It's the guy that loves to hate Fox News. And the first clip that we're going to do tonight is going to be from Jim Carrey. And I don't know if you've heard all the fanfare, but he did a video. And ever since he did the video, he's been ostracized by Fox. You would have think he committed a mortal sin. You would have think he killed some kids or something. He made a video. But anyway, that was enough to push Fox over the edge. So we're going to go to Jim Carrey, and then we're going to go to a video called Brainwashed. And you're going to see an actual Bill O'Reilly Fox viewer that has changed their position on global warming. I'm not kidding. Even though it's April Fool's, this ain't a joke. When you watch the video, you're going to need a stiff drink and somebody to pick you up because you're not going to believe what you see. Followed by that, the name of the show is called Greedy Lying Bastards. And the reason why is there's a new movie out. And the movie was produced by Daryl Hannah. She was the girl that played the mermaid in Splash. And the movie's opening, just opened in March in theaters. And I got to be honest with you, I couldn't find any locally, but you know, it's early. And then we're going to go to the trailer for Greedy Lying Bastards. And when you see this, you're not going to be a happy camper. We're going to follow suit by taking an excerpt from the Koch brothers, the movie, The Koch brothers Exposed. And we're going to show what these guys do, what the 1% do to make sure that they stay richer. And once again, finally, we're going to follow up from the same movie, from the Koch brothers Exposed. We're going to follow up with a little session from Senator Barry Sanders from Vermont. And, you know, this guy is, when you hear what he has to say and when you see the echo chamber that Fox creates and that the companies, that the think tanks and all these different groups and how they're funded, and then all of a sudden all the pieces are going to start to fit. And you're going to say, you know, I never really realized this. But now that you're pointing it out to me, I understand. And that's the reason why we always have question marks on everything. You know what I mean? Because when somebody tells you something, the first thing we want to do is say, where did you get your information from? Who told you that? And most of the times it's going to be Judy from Nebraska, or it's going to be Uncle Joe who saw something on the internet. And they all sing the same tune. And because they're not dealing with reality. They can't face facts. You know? The only facts they have to fox them because the facts don't fit into their agenda. It's like when Megyn Kelly was saying to Karl Rove after they lost the election, and Karl Rove's going, well, you know, there's still a chance. And Megyn Kelly goes, Karl, is this the kind of math you do to make Republicans feel better, or is this real math? And that's what it's like. All right, so anyway, call your friends, and now it's time for the fun part of the show. We're going to watch a clip from the Young Turks, and it's about Jim Carrey. Judy, when you're ready.
Plays this cowboy character, country singer. He plays Sam Elliott at one point. He's pretending to be on Hee Haw. It's against gun nuts, if you will, right, as he would probably characterize them, and it's pretty strong. So Fox News has lost their ever-loving minds over it. Oh my, how dare he! So first, Sean Hannity shows the part of the song that they are so outraged by. Let's watch.
Charlton Heston movies are no longer in demand, and his immortal soul may lay forever in the sand. The angels wouldn't take him up to heaven like he planned, 'cause they couldn't pry that gun from his cold dead hand.
What did he say?
It takes a cold dead hand to decide to pull the trigger. Takes a cold dead heart, and as near as I can figure, with your cold dead aim, you're trying to prove your is bigger, but we know.
That's awesome. Now, of course, they're like, how dare you got Southerners there, and you're trying to portray them as hicks, and you're against the people who have guns that are Fox News. Okay, you think I'm exaggerating? Watch all of these different Fox News hosts lose their minds.
He is probably the most pathetic tool on the face of the earth, and I hope his career is dead, and I hope he ends up sleeping in a car the way his life began.
The not-so-funny left-wing Hollywood actor who drinks way too much caffeine, Jim Carrey.
It's supposed to be funny. It's just not funny.
Jim Carrey getting dumber and dumber.
He's a dirty, stinking coward.
Well, Horton here is a career sputtering.
No, you're allowed to make fun of white Southerners
and Christians.
And Christians, yes.
He's such a pathetic, sad little freak. He's a gibbering mess. I mean, he's a marionette, and he's fading, and he's saying, look, I'm still relevant. I'm not aging.
Clearly, he's looking to be relevant. It's to try and somehow stay relevant.
Carrey has not been funny since, I don't know, The Truman Show.
He's a Learjet limousine liberal with a bodyguard.
He has a bodyguard already that is armed.
He has the luxury of being protected by, I would imagine, an armed security person.
Jim Carrey has a bodyguard, and
then there happens to be some beefy guy that has one in his pocket when he goes out to awards shows.
There's New York, there's L.A., there's D.C., there's Chicago. Then there's the rest of this country. You know, people that believe in the Second Amendment, freedom of speech.
Well, I haven't seen a movie with this guy in how long?
He's a modern bigot. He's a modern bigot.
It's a mask to perhaps direct our attention away from the cold, dead career.
This video only made me want to go out and buy a gun.
You know what? You're going to make more people buy guns. That's what they're going to do.
He insulted a bunch of people, and then he ran like a little baby. He's such a little sad freak. It really is about as edgy as a handball. He's as edgy as a Frisbee.
I really don't like the idea of a foreigner coming in here and trying to get into the middle of this debate. He's from Canada, right?
Here's a guy from Canada lecturing us about guns, mocking half the country.
A wise idea, if you're not from a particular country, to get into that country and begin to get in the middle of their politics.
I loved every piece of that. Oh, this not-so-funny guy said Greg Gutfeld? Please. Greg Gutfeld, oh, this little sad freak? Okay, I hate to break it to you, but Jim Carrey has made a small fortune, tens of millions of dollars. As capitalists, you should celebrate him, right? Being funny. That's what he does, and apparently he does it well because the markets reward him heavily for that. When's the last time he was in a movie? He's in a movie right now, Burt Wonderstone. What's the last good one? Liar, liar. Bruce Almighty, Ace Ventura. I can list you 10 others. They did pretty well in the box office, right? So I love these guys. Oh, this guy's career is over. I know, Gutfeld, your career is taking off. And you can criticize his career. And then so many great hypocrisies in there. You know, how dare they criticize the middle of the country? Those bastards in New York, D.C., L.A., and Chicago. Okay, you know all those cities are also in America, right? And then I love the resident liberal, Bob Becker. Oh, this guy's from Canada. How dare he? Frickin' Canadian. That's the best you got? So why are they so angry? What is it about this thing? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, this is their core audience. They think, and this is when they step up, and as O'Reilly would say, they defend the folks. Folks, we got your back. We're not going to let that Hollywood liberal get away with this. And then, man, Gutfeld was in a Twitter storm. He's going nuts over this. He says, among 100 tweets, comparing Jim Carrey to Charlton Heston is like comparing a wart to the Sistine Chapel. Charlton Heston was in Planet of the Apes. What is it about Republicans that love all conservative actors that do movies with monkeys? Whether it's Reagan or Heston, how dare you, Sistine Chapel? Just calm down, okay? Now, he's not calm, and we begin to get to the source of his anger in this tweet. One definition of a coward, Jim Carrey's a guy who expresses an opinion, then hides. No wonder you're miserable. But wait a minute, he's not hiding. He did a whole 5-minute video taking his views and rubbing it in your face, saying, yeah, this is what I think of you. You loser gun freak. What part of that is hiding? Well, it turns out Gutfeld was hurt because Jim Carrey, and he says this at one point in the interviews, wouldn't respond to his tweets. Oh, that's so sad. He said, oh, he's got these 10 million Twitter followers. What happened? I thought he was irrelevant. He's got these 10 million Twitter followers and he won't even respond to me. What a coward. Oh, who's trying to be relevant now, Greg? That's awesome. But it's not just that. I'm sitting here looking at this. I mean, this is visceral anger. Not just defending the folks, not just you're hurt over the fact that Jim Carrey won't respond to you because you're nothing compared to him in terms of, media success, etc. And then I got it. You notice in this song, especially if you watch the whole 5-minute clip, it keeps going over and over to how they have a small penis. And they're trying to compensate for it. And it has Charlton Heston playing with the rifle and stuff. Oh, that got under Gutfeld's skin for some reason. You say, oh, yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean small penis? Not me. Not me, somebody else. It's not me. Definitely not me. How dare this guy? I'm trying to defend the people in somewhere else, like in Kansas or something. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. Man, they got hurt over that. Like, I'm hurt, dog. He hit a raw nerve.
One. We're back.
Yeehaw! Nothing makes my heart happier. Nothing makes me happier than to watch the people at Fox implode. I mean, and this is the way these people are. They don't know what to do. I mean, they've got an agenda, and that's all they have. And it's the same talking points, and that's why we call it an echo chamber. It's constant, it's repetitive, it's badgering over and over and over. And the stupid folks that sit there, that don't pay attention to anything, they watch the chyrons occasionally, and they get an idea what's going on, but they don't question anything. That's why we're here. We're here to question everything. Now, you're not going to believe the next clip because we actually have a foxtitude who has converted. That's right. And you're going to say, Rich, what's a foxtitude? Normally, a foxtitude is somebody that sells their soul to the Fox network and then sells it to the American people. But a foxtitude can also be somebody that watches. As long as you're part of the conspiracy, as long as you're part of the scam, you're a foxtitude, plain and simple. And if that bothers you, tough. Sorry. All right. Now the next video we're going to go to, you're going to watch the conversion. So Judy, hit me. Uh-oh. Things were
who was
going-
the director-producer of a film called Chasing Ice, which I keep recommending to you. If you're in D.C. or you're on the West Coast, you can. We have a link on the blog to the site Chasing Ice to find out when it's playing. And, you know, just to offer some shred of optimism on the global warming front, this is a video that I just saw of a woman who had just seen Chasing Ice. I don't know if she saw it in New York or in D.C. She must have seen it just in the past couple of days. This is a video apparently shot, a testimonial from this woman when she came out of the theater. And it is extremely encouraging. Like I say, you can listen to the whole Jeff Orlowski interview from last week on the show. If you have a chance, go see the movie. But the movie, it's a beautiful movie, and it's obviously extremely powerful. But listen to what this woman had to say. It is reason for optimism.
Let me say what I have to say. That I watch Bill O'Reilly every day. I love Bill O'Reilly. I'm proud to be an American. But I saw this movie, Chasing Ice, today. And it hasn't just changed me about global warming. It has changed me as a person. And there is something, I don't know what I can do. I'm 60 years old, but there must be something I can do to help our children, to help my grandkids. But I'm going to change it because this movie was fantastic. Every human being in this world should watch this movie. Everyone.
And you didn't believe in global warming?
I did not believe in global warming. I'm going to be 60 on December 21, and every time someone mentioned global warming to me, I told them if they wanted to remain in my home, they needed to step out, because I said it was bullshit. I didn't believe it, excuse my language. And that is because I listen, and this is the truth, I believe Bill O'Reilly.
And now you saw this movie.
And I saw this movie, and I apologize to anyone I ever talked into believing there was no global warming. I have talked every friend, every person I know into believing there is no global warming. And now I have to undo my damage, and I will. For the moment I go to my car, go home, go to my computer, it has changed my life.
Wow, that's great. That's really cool.
Thank you for giving me this moment. It was a great movie.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, powerful stuff. So that's encouraging. And again, if you have the opportunity to see this film, go do it by all means.
All right.
That woman's seen the light. I have seen the light. Now that's what you call a convert. Now I got to be honest with you. Who knows who she is? Who knows where she's from? She could be pulling a Fox stunt. I don't know. You know, we're going to have to get deeper on this. And I got to be honest with you. I didn't even know this movie existed until today. And I have no idea how this got by me. But the name of the movie is called Chasing Ice. And what they've done is they've taken cameras and they mounted the cameras in, I think it's Antarctica, or the Arctic. Well, I might get it wrong, so you'll have to watch. We're going to show the trailer in a minute.
Arctic, Antarctic.
Okay, so it's the Arctic. All right, so anyway, and what they did was they have 3 years of video to show you exactly what's happening with our planet and how climate change is destroying us. And the next video we have is a short one, and it's a video from a company. It's from a website that's called Exxon Hates Your Kids. So we're going to play this video, and like I said, it's a short one. Judy?
The climate crisis will rip their world apart, but we don't care because it's making us rich. That's right. Every year, Congress gives the fossil fuel industry over $10 billion in subsidies. That's your tax dollars lining our pockets. Making a fortune destroying your kids' future? At Exxon, that's what we call good business. ExxonHatesYourChildren.com.
All right, now, you know, there are times in your life when you have an epiphany. And I mean that. And I think most people here know what a global warming advocate I am. I mean, you know, and how I can present the facts, how I can prove my point, how I can show you evidence, how there is no doubt whatsoever that global warming is happening and it's man-made. I mean, it's indisputable. But what happens is the fossil fuel industry, the oil companies, what they want to do is they want to create doubt. And that's all they have to do is create doubt. It's the same guys that tried to tell you they were going to sell you healthy cigarettes. The same people that trying to convince you that global warming is not a problem. Now, one day I was talking with a guy, and he said to me, he goes, you know, Rich, it doesn't matter what facts you present me with as far as global warming is concerned, I can counter every one of them. And I said, yeah, the way you counter them is by presenting BS from somebody, from some article that's unauthored, from some climate denier, and it's irrelevant. But the thing is, that's what you want to do. All you want to do is create doubt. So getting back to what I said about an epiphany, if you're debating somebody about climate change or global warming, and let's say the people say, you know, I have indisputable proof, and we went through this in one of the former shows, that the globe hasn't warmed in 16 years. You look them right in the eye, and you say to them, why do you hate your children? It's a game changer. It ends the present conversation and it changes the subject. And any rational, normal human being will sit there and say, I don't hate my kids. What are you talking about? What are you, crazy? And I'll just say, listen, if you don't care about your kid's future, and if you're not concerned enough to sit down and get up to speed on what's happening with global warming, you hate your kids. And I hate to put it like that, but it's a bitch slap that has to be heard, because we got to stop the crap, folks. The party's over. The myth is over. The crap is over. We got to stop the greedy, lying bastards. I mean, these guys are evil. And, you know, the funny thing is, you know, people say about their children, well, you know, I love my children. Every month I'm putting money away so they can go to a good university. I'm making sure that I'm taking care of my kids. I got a news flash for you. If your kid's going to go to college in 15 years, the college might not be there. All right. I might have to take some medication after this show.
Calm down.
But you see what I'm saying? Stop being an irrational idiot. Stop listening to the foxtitudes. 97.3% of the climate scientists at the National Academy of Scientists not only agree that global warming is happening, but it's man-made. Are you going to stand with the 2.7% that says global warming's not happening? I mean, we've never had a landslide like this. You'll never find 97% of the people to agree on anything. It's not possible. But when you look at the evidence and you take the facts and you take the data, and the only thing that Fox and the other people have to say is the data's been flawed. The data hasn't been flawed. That's the only thing they can tell you. It's the sunspot. It's not the sunspots. There's a website, it's called OSS. And it's a website, and I tried to print it, but I couldn't. But it's a website that's been put out by the National Academy of Sciences. When you can, get anybody you know you can to go to that website, because they have the most crystal clear videos. They're not, you know, they're not arrogant. They just lay the cards on the table. and you have to call a spade a spade. It's that simple. And that's one of the problems that we don't do. You know, we're worried about our kids' future, but yet we stay blind to what we're being told. And why? Why are we being told this? Why is the fossil fuel industry want to do this? One reason, kids. It's the money. It's all about the money. But can you imagine making a lot of money and sailing on a 78-foot cabin cruiser and enjoying the benefits of everything you've done? And when you find out that really all you've done is you've ruined the planet, and then you've gone through a charade to try to defend yourself, and you spend millions of dollars on these think tanks, the Cato Institute, Heritage Foundation, these guys don't quit. I'm sure they're the same people that are writing the news for Fox in the morning, because you can't have a regular bonehead write this stuff. I mean, this is complicated stuff. This has got to come from a think tank. And the way it's all one-sided, I mean, let's be honest. Again, let's call a spade a spade. All right, now, Daryl Hannah. I remember her from years ago from the movie Splash. She's become an advocate, and she came up, they produced a movie called Greedy Lying Bastards. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch the clip from Daryl, and she's going to explain why she's doing what she's doing, and then we're going to show the trailer to the movie. So, Judy?
For some of these topics.
Many times.
Yeah, a handful of times.
Well, you know, first of all, I don't think that that's something that's really so bad. I mean, Martin Luther King was arrested 30 times before he was the age of 39 to right incredible wrongs. And we're at a time of extreme crises. I mean, we are facing a possible threat to our very life support systems. I mean, a week and a half ago, the World Bank, who finance most of these large fossil fuel projects, you know, mega dams, etc., put out their own report on the climate crisis. And it was like the worst horror film I've ever seen in my life. It was the scariest scenario. They said that if we raise the temperature of the Earth 4 degrees Celsius, essentially it's total systems collapse, mass starvation, mass extinctions, disease. I mean, the picture that they portray in their report was so horrifying that they had no choice but to make urgent recommendations to make radical changes to stop fossil fuels immediately.
Do you think you're getting...
And that's from the World Bank.
You know, what's the takeaway here? What do you want people who watch the film to do when they leave the theater?
Well, to hold these fossil fuel companies accountable, because, see, I believe that first of all, I believe Citizens United needs to be eradicated. This ruling that gave corporations the right of a person, because now politicians are doing the bidding of corporations and not representing us, we the people. They're representing the corporations, because now corporations can give them money to their campaigns. They can send hundreds of lobbyists to make sure that they keep the pressure on, so that the politicians are doing their will. And when that's all the messaging that they get, right, they're going to do it. You know, what did Upton Sinclair say? You a guy's not going to do something when his salary depends upon him doing it.
How do you counter, though, the economic argument? Because what happens in this country, anytime you try to propose any change, folks will say, oh, it's going to cost us billions, that's going to wreck the economy, we're going to lose jobs, and that always causes somebody to go...
over human beings'
People go, oh my God, we can't lose jobs.
Well, here's the deal. What we're talking about is protecting our ability to survive and our vital life support systems. Now, there's a way to do that and still create jobs that are domestic jobs with safe, clean energy, and that's where we should be putting all of our resources, not just allowing these companies who are essentially raping and pillaging our ecosystems because they are making record profits, even in this economy. The fossil fuel industry is the wealthiest industry in the history of money. In the history of money. And yet we're still paying, through the roof just for our gallons of gas to go to take our kids to school. It is unethical, it's wrong, and now we're going to extreme forms of extraction just to get that fuel, because we've run out of the easy to get stuff. We have to blow up entire mountaintops. We're just decimating our old...
She gets it. It's really not difficult. I mean, it's really not. She understands. She became an activist because she saw there was a problem, and she saw that it needed to be attended to. That's the reason why I'm here. I mean, you know, if it wasn't for the same reasons, the only thing is I think she's got a few more dollars than I do, but I don't know. All right, now the next clip is going to be the trailer from the actual movie. And in the beginning of the movie, I want you to notice some of the awards that the movie has acclaimed. And, you know, Judy, let's forge ahead.
Global warming is? I didn't hear that. Global warming is?
We actually have had no significant warming.
The breakup of the ice at the North Pole is not unusual.
Right. There is no scientific basis for alarm.
Are you guys funded in part by Exxon?
Irony, but why do you imagine that Exxon give you money?
The fossil fuel industries have an enormous amount of clout. The Koch brothers, for example, gave millions and millions of dollars to Republican efforts to not do anything to fight climate change.
They basically are in the business of selling doubt. They have been given access to major media.
ClimateGate exploding. Get ready for ClimateGate.
Carbon dioxide is not a pollutant.
They are organs of propaganda.
They're criticizing you for being too alarmist and hurting your own cause. Global warming and the media.
The impact that global warming is going to have on the economy, on our lives, on our freedom.
Who benefits from this legislation? Koch Industries would be one of the big winners.
This year,
I've been here my whole life, and the last 2 years are the worst I've ever seen.
separate fact
More droughts, more floods, more frequent and severe storms.
from fiction.
Climate does fluctuate.
Sunspots.
There are no catastrophes in sight.
Uncover the conspiracies behind the campaigns
Plug these changes in. This is what I want it to look like.
and the greedy, lying bastards behind it all.
Could it be that man-made global warming is the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on the American people?
The greatest hoax ever perpetrated on the American people.
Corporations who have us where we are, who have us over a barrel, would love to keep it that way.
I stand here to request that our leaders stop talking and start taking meaningful action.
Those who have denied the threat this poses couldn't produce one scientist, not one scientist.
President Obama promised to heal the planet. My promise is to help you and your family.
You know, you see it. I mean, this isn't made up stuff. You know, it's there for all to see. You know, most of the stuff that I make you aware of on this show is stuff that I found on the internet. So, I mean, I'm just trying to point you in the right direction. The movie about the Koch brothers, it's the Koch brothers Exposed. And you could watch the whole thing online. This other movie that we talked about, the Greedy Lying Bastards, I don't know where that's playing, and I couldn't find it. And the other one, the Chasing Ice, I didn't even know this movie existed. So I don't know how this is getting in there, unless the oil companies are spending a lot of money to make sure that we don't know that these are playing. But the next video we're going to go to is from the Koch brothers Exposed movie. And it's going to show you, they have a plant, a Georgia Pacific plant in Tennessee. And when you see what they do to the community from this plant, it's disgusting and it's disgraceful. And what really gets me is the fact that they put the profits of the corporation before the people of the community. It's like they have a carte blanche card where they can do whatever they want and not have to pay for it. We'll pay for it because somebody's gonna have to clean it up. So now we're gonna go to a video and we're gonna show you what it's like to live downwind and downstream of the Georgia Pacific plant in Tennessee, you're not going to be a happy camper. Watch what these people go through.
Something is wrong on this street, Penn Road, where I live. Something is wrong here in this community.
It's killing people, just like it killed my daughter.
I live on Penn Road. People call me Mr. Bowie because I'm a minister. I pastored church for 22 years in this area. I'm a reserve deputy sheriff, and I'm a senior citizen.
This house is Mr. Warfield Gibbs. His wife, Bobby Sue Gibbs, passed away with multi-cancers a few years ago.
I have to do this 3 to 4 times a day.
This house here belongs to Mr. George Parker and it's Miss Ollie Parker. Both of them was taken out by cancer.
My husband died of lung cancer, and I am having breathing problems.
Mr. Tom Perkins and his wife, they live here. Mr. Tom Perkins is deceased now. He had multi-cancers.
We have 15 homes in this area, and maybe 11 people has died or more with cancer, and that's unreal.
What's going on here is a crime.
It's just a waste. My daughter Letitia died at 43. She grew up in the neighborhood. She had a husband, a devoted husband. She had children that she really and truly loved, and I think that she died too young. She was a non-smoker. She was not a drinker, and she got lung cancer. And you know, you'll wonder where did it come from?
These people are sick, they're dying.
This is inexcusable.
That's murderous.
Good to see you again.
When I met Mr. Bowie, I could not believe what was going on in this neighborhood.
I think it has to do with our environment, what we smell, what we inhale. We were deer hunting in the back, and we noticed that there was such a strong odor back there.
The smell was so strong and so bad. It was awful. I started noticing in my river these sheets of black coming downstream. The color's different, the smell is different, the whole river is different.
It's rough. Whatever's in it is killing these trees.
They have cut this huge channel, and it's like an open sewer line.
This is where the smell is coming from. You can see the steam coming from this stuff. And at times it gets so bad, it's like a big cloud. And it gets up in the warm air, and it flows right over the trees where our property is.
It is our mission to find out what it is, who's behind it, and how to stop it.
It causes the throat to be sore, eyes to hurt, nose, and it's hard to breathe in.
The first time that I came here, I saw the color of the water. It was like an epiphany. This right here, it's private property, but if you could follow it in a straight line, you would be at Georgia Pacific's plant owned by Koch Industries.
It's pitiful that Koch allowed this kind of a stuff to be just dumped in the wide open like this.
Once I saw this, I knew Koch Industries were the culprits. They know that these people are sick.
Koch Industries, Georgia Pacific, they employ thousands of people here in Crossett. And it's hard to come up against a company that employs so many people.
The neighborhood of Penn Row is at ground zero. Right through these woods are these ditches carrying these various types of pollutions from the Georgia Pacific plant.
And that industrial process includes the use and discharges to the air and into the water of a lot of nasty chemicals. The Georgia Pacific complex in West Crossett releases millions of gallons a day of wastewater into a whole series of ditches where the water is allowed to percolate. One might characterize these exposures as a ticking time bomb to the people's health that are breathing the air that's flowing from these open ditches.
It's such a hard battle that these people have here. They don't have money, and their state representatives are all influenced by the Koch brothers and this whole system they have put together to be able to do whatever they want to.
The Senate will come to order.
The Koch brothers basically buy an anti-environmental Congress that has single-handedly tried to eviscerate and gut environmental regulation across the board.
I'm proud of the work Koch Industries brings to my district.
It's cheap at the price. It's certainly a lot less expensive than actually having to retrofit factories.
The EPA will have doors locked and the lights turned off.
Koch Industries not only manipulates the political process, but more importantly to me is they manipulate the public into believing that the EPA is killing jobs.
The EPA is intent on taking matters into their own hands, which will result in a bleeding of jobs.
It is a problem when politicians are calling EPA and saying, leave them alone, rather than calling them and saying, do your job and clean it up.
Workers in my state don't want to see the lost jobs that EPA's big government takeover would bring.
Koch is using natural streams to transport waste, and this is not allowed by the Clean Water Act. And they can do it because EPA lets them do it.
Koch Industries are repeat offenders of environmental crimes.
Koch Industries is one of the primary sources of pollution in the United States.
They have a history of serious and even criminal pollution problems.
Koch Industries subsidiaries have paid millions in environmental fines.
The Koch brothers are trying to stop the government from limiting greenhouse gas emissions.
Government regulators have fined Koch Industries and its subsidiaries tens of millions for oil spills and pollution over the years.
In 2000, a federal grand jury returned a 97-count indictment against Koch Industries in Corpus Christi, Texas. They were charged not only with emitting more benzene than they were allowed to, they tried to cover it up.
Benzene is a known human carcinogen. People that are breathing benzene have increased risk of developing cancer. That's known. It's not suspected, it is known.
But the Bush administration worked with Koch to come up with a plea bargain. So it went from 97-count indictment to 1 count, the potential of $350 million to just $20 million fine. As an environmental criminologist, watching this case evolve makes me sick. They know they can get away with it. They'll just wait and be fined if they ever get caught, which in most cases they won't ever be caught because the EPA is understaffed and underfunded.
The Koch brothers care more for their income than they do their neighbors, and people are constantly dying.
It's just called cheap and not caring about people or rivers or the environment or anyone but their bottom line.
David Koch, he can stop this, just as he donates millions of dollars to try to find a cure for cancer.
It began 16 years ago when I discovered that I had prostate cancer and that I had not long to live.
How kind of man is David if he has cancer and put all his money into research and then he's dumping in our backyard?
Today my cancer is very much under control, and my doctor advises me that I have many more years to live.
He was able to buy good medicine, to see the best doctors.
The fact that this magnificent research facility has been named after me is probably the greatest honor I've ever been awarded.
With David Koch, knowing that he has been right there where we, the people of this community, are now. And when you look around you and see people dying every day, then that's shocking to us.
I've lived here for 39 years. My husband died of lung cancer, and I am having breathing problems, and I feel that I might eventually have lung problems.
The Koch brothers, I'm reaching out, hoping and asking them to fix this problem because we need help here.
In the Old West, they called it being outgunned. They're outgunned by the Koch brothers. So I feel like their only hope is to make people realize what's happening here.
If I could talk to Koch brothers face to face, I just really believe I'm dying now, you know, just a slow death what it is.
The Koch brothers are killing me and my family.
I feel that Georgia Pacific and Koch is responsible for my daughter's death.
This is inexcusable, and something's got to be done about it. These people don't stand a chance.
Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad? These are the guys that hate your kids. These are the guys that put profit before people. And you know what? They build pipelines. That's what they do. They build pipelines. You think they could put a pipe to contain that stuff that you saw running behind those houses? These guys won't spend a penny on anything that they don't have to. And that's why we're facing this problem. Because you get the boneheads like these guys that put the shareholders in front of the people. And you know, a lot of people think, well, you know, the shareholders are the orphans and the kids. Bull. Bull. The shareholders are the other people from the other corporations that own millions of shares. Not hundreds. They're all in cahoots. You know, it's getting back to the basics, getting back to what we first started with. You know, when I first became an activist, it was because of the 1%. Here we are again. These guys don't quit. We can't quit either. That's why. If you're in a debate with somebody and they say something, what do you say to them? Why do you hate your kids? Bada bing! Stop it. Stop the conversation dead. Get them to realize, get them to wake up. Now, the last video we're going to watch is from Bernie Sanders. He's a congressman from, senator from Vermont. This guy is for the working man. It's that simple. And what he's going to show to you is how the Koch brothers and Fox News and all the think tanks combined create an echo chamber. And when you hear it, it's like what you heard earlier, but it becomes redundant and they all follow it. And it's like passing a baton. It's like a relay race. All day long, it just keeps going. Doesn't matter what it is. In this case, it's global warming. Tomorrow, it could be redistribution of wealth. Doesn't matter. They just, hey, we just went through the war on Easter and we went through a whole shindig on guns. These guys won't stop at anything. But let's take a look at what Bernie Sanders has to say, and he'll expose the echo chamber. Judy?
What the Koch brothers want to do is destroy Social Security, because Social Security is a federal government program that has been enormously successful. The Koch brothers are funding think tanks and other organizations which are spreading an enormous amount of disinformation about Social Security. Raising the age of retirement is to ask people who are banging nails or waitresses or so many blue-collar jobs out there that you got to keep working until you're 70 years of age. That's just really unfair. Second of all, we want to give the younger generation an opportunity to get out into the workforce. The Koch brothers fund organizations, and you have economists and political scientists working there. And they are very, very good in getting on television.
Raising the retirement age.
I would increase the retirement age.
You will probably have to increase the retirement age.
We're probably going to have to raise the retirement age.
And people will not know they represent an organization which is heavily funded by corporate interests. They are very effective in getting their positions out into the media.
Should Congress raise the retirement age?
If you raise the retirement age.
Oh, raise the retirement age.
Let's consider the options. Let's raise the age, raising the retirement age to 69.
At the same time, the Koch brothers are putting huge amounts of money into campaign contributions.
Very modest increases in the retirement age.
And eventually getting the retirement age to 70 is a step that needs to be taken.
The age on Social Security will have to go up.
So you have an echo chamber which starts repeating a lot of misinformation. The Koch brothers are funding study after study which suggests to people that Social Security is going bankrupt. Social Security is not going broke. Social Security has a $2.6 trillion surplus.
The program is actuarially bankrupt.
Social Security and Medicare, they are going to go broke.
The real risk is Social Security running out of money.
Social Security going bankrupt.
Social Security already bankrupt.
Social Security is going bankrupt.
The system will be bankrupt.
Bankrupt federal programs like Social Security.
Social Security is going bankrupt.
Social Security is already running red.
The Koch brothers want to privatize Social Security to invest your retirement funds on Wall Street, and you may lose all of your retirement savings when you get old.
Real security is based on personal accounts with real assets.
I like the idea of personal accounts.
The option of investing 1/3 of their Social Security payroll taxes into personal retirement accounts.
The Koch brothers' job is to do everything they can to dismember government in general, and if you could destroy Social Security, you will have gone a long way forward in that effort.
That's got to have an impact on you. I mean, you can't watch something like that and not respond to it. I mean, how, you know, why? What bothers me is, why would these guys want to do this? I mean, if you got all the money in the world, and there's no way that they can ever spend all this money. And if you watch the movie, I mean, when you see, these guys don't have regular houses. I think the one brother owns 7 and the other owns 6. I mean, crazy kind of, you know, I mean, stuff that, you know, mansions with 14 bathrooms in it. I mean, this is crazy stuff. Now, you know, but why would you want to do this? Why, you know, I mean, how much more money can you make? And why, down the road? Look at the inconvenience you're putting everybody at. Look at what's happening with the superstorms and the, you know, the corn, you know, dying in the fields. And I tell you, this year, you know, with New York City subways closing 2 years in a row, doesn't that tell you something's fishy? I mean, we got to make some changes, gang. All right, so we got a few shout-outs we want to do, but I just want to go over the final thing for this show. Remember, when you're talking to somebody about global warming, get right in their face, look them right in the eye, and say to them, why do you hate your children? Tough love. It is tough love. Yeah, I guess you have to be. Hey, you know what I just noticed? Judy came by and she put some Easter eggs over here. But the problem is they're camouflage. No wonder I never saw them. You know, I tell you, that's why I stopped hunting, you know. I used to have a camouflage outfit I put in the closet. I could never find it. All right, now it's time for shout-outs. The time is now for immigration reform. And I think the way things are going, we're seeing some changes. April 9th at 4 p.m., immigrant advocates in Connecticut. It's going to be at the Main Street Library in Danbury. So hopefully everyone can get together. That's April 9th. And it's the Connecticut Immigration Rights Alliance. So remember, Thursday, April 9th at 4 p.m. Next is we have movies. At Occupy Danbury has movies for the 99% at a common ground. And let's see, on Wednesday, April 3rd is Idiocracy. It's a comedy, followed by Wednesday the 17th, Bill Moyer's United States of Alec. It's also something the Koch brothers were involved in, yeah. And then we have Frascone. The only nutritive beverage with 100% genuine fracking fluid. Oh, that's good. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine about fracking, and I said to him, I said, what would happen if the fracking went astray and people lived on a farm and they couldn't, the cows couldn't drink the water anymore? What would you do? He said they'd have to move. And I said, what a nice guy. So we're going to move so that you guys can frack. Okay. And finally, we have the Danbury Peace Vigil. They stand for peace every Saturday morning from 10:30 to noon. It's at the War Memorial at the corner of Main and South Streets. The vigil's in its 7th year, and they've never missed a Saturday. That's commitment, guys. All right, what's our timeline? How much? A minute and a half. Uh-oh.
Go to it.
I got to do some slow talking now.
Slow it down.
Okay. Once again, guys, you know, virtually everything that I show you, you know, on the show, I'm able to get on YouTube. So, I mean, what I find, you can find. And what you really want to be careful of is when you're on the internet, when you're looking at things, the first thing you want to see in the article is who wrote the article? Who wrote the article and what does he do for a living? Because if Joe Schmo, who changes transmissions, puts an article about climate change, that's who I call Judy from Nebraska, someone who absolutely knows nothing about what they're doing, but yet they refuse to shut up about it. So you want to make sure that you see the author's name, and if there's any footnotes, where are they getting their information from? All right? Now remember, guys, next time you get into a conversation with global warming, what's the thing you want to ask? Why do you hate your kids? We'll see you next week, guys.
Bada bing.
For some of these topics.